I've got I made a lead-in music for us, but I've got it on the live stream, so I'll fix that in a minute here. But yeah, I'm excited about Virtual Synergy. Right, we're sponsored. It's exciting. We've got lots of amazing things going on in life and show, and coming up on Friday will be the 100th episode. I know that's crazy, but we've done 100 episodes here coming up, and then starting in April, we're gonna take a look at all the stuff that happened in the past and see what worked really great, what didn't work, what can we do better, and we'll just continue to keep iterating. I mean, John is an amazing host and does such an amazing job for all this stuff, and it's just fantastic that you're here and that you do all the amazing things. And it has been so cool, seriously, just to watch your progression from I love AI to I know nothing to now I can freaking make agentic workflows and stuff, and applications and books. I mean, we're talking about in a few short months, all this stuff has happened for John, and it's just really cool to watch.
Thank you so much. I mean, I just knew that I had to do it, otherwise I was going to be left behind, and for my own mental health, and I feel so fortunate. I contacted you because you were doing the daily space, and I said I just don't want to impede on your time. You said, cool, come join me. And I was like, awesome, because it is a lot to do these things on a regular basis, and having a team. Actually, Sarah was mentioning that with Alex, that I think it does suit better for spaces to have a team. And then I think and there is work to it, but being absorbed into this on a daily basis, Monday through Friday, I don't have any fear of missing out issues. I feel like I'm where I have to be, and I've learned so much. And it's just, really, for everybody who's listening in on Facebook, who's listening on Twitch, who's listening on Twitter, I am AI John Allen. I can be found on X, and we have Andy Wergadal, who's on X, and we're also on other platforms. But you should really try to find us here on X. I know it's not easy. It takes some work, but it's worth the effort. Get over here so you can discuss what you're doing with AI, and you can talk to experts and find out what's really going on right now, so it can keep that fear of missing out on something that's moving so fast and is so important. Is only going to happen once. We're only going to have this transition from normal world into AI world once in human history. So you might as well ride the tsunami, as Andy said. So I'm going to, Andy, if you don't mind, I'm going to get into the ads for Virtual Synergy Inc. What if you could free up hours in your day without sacrificing productivity? Successful entrepreneurs know the secret. They delegate. And we have Juan Carlos here who signed up with them. And I know Jason has signed up with Virtual Synergy Inc. And I'm really excited to hear how it's going to change your life, because it is going to free you up and you are going to delegate. If you're looking for an employee to handle your administration, there's no better employee than a virtual assistant from Virtual Synergy Inc. Virtual Synergy Inc. connects you with skilled human virtual assistants who handle your admin work, emails, and scheduling, so you can focus on what really matters: growing your business, revenue, new sales. You are the tip of the spear for your business. You are out there getting new jobs. And that's what everybody who's got their own business needs to focus on. And that's why you see all these people that are influencers or and everything. They're tip of the spear. No hiring stress, no overhead, just expert support on demand. Stop managing tasks and start leading your business. So I'm excited to hear what Juan Carlos is. What made you pull the trigger on that? If you want to at some point, I'd love to hear what caused you to make that decision, because that's super important.
It is. I think I want to hear it too. I've mentioned many times about AI being like my own personal. That's how I use AI, is uh, as an assistant. I mean, I really could use an assistant and AI, because I have a lot of projects going on, a lot of details I need to track, and things like, hey, can you move this meeting to Thursday? Man, if I could just, when you offload your work right? When you need to free up time, the first thing you need to get rid of is answering every single email and managing your calendar. If you can offload that to somebody else, that will it's shocking how much you can get done with that. Because most people, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I get uh, hundreds to in all my accounts, thousands of emails a day. And it is really kind of a shocking thing to take a look at what the volume is of all of that. And just being able to say, here are the rules, handle everything first. And I already have rules that move all my stuff around into various folders and things, but it's still crazy the amount of volume of stuff we do. And the reason is from business, right? So when you talk, that's one level of communication. I can remember something, you can remember something. When we text, that's kind of like a next formal level. But if you send an email, it's the same as you writing a piece of paper and signing it at the bottom. So email is, you can track and use that in court cases, and you can use it for discovery. You can use it to find, evidentiary proceeding stuff. But uh, which is why I get so much email. We'll talk, we'll socialize it, we'll formalize it, maybe a text or two, and then email until everybody agrees. I'm like, okay, this email agreed. And then I store it and I store it somewhere so that I can go get them. But, I think most people do that either consciously or unconsciously. And if you're in any way involved with X or any way involved with the startup circle or any of these other communities, you're going to find out that, you're just going to end up with a lot of newsletters and a lot of emails and a lot of communication streams you're going to have to manage. And getting a virtual assistant or getting some AI help with that will definitely free up some of your time.
And one thing that we're doing that's very unique that I'm excited about is with virtualsynergyinc.com, our sponsor, we just we're onboarding a customer today. Juan Carlos onboarding in public is pretty wild. I haven't really heard that before anywhere on radio or anything. So, Juan Carlos, you want to share with us what made you pull the trigger today? Is it because of the family situation?
Yeah, so halfway that, and then halfway just I'm just always about testing and learning. So I've always kind of avoided VAs and stuff like that. I've worked with like a team of VAs. I was a director of operations for a small pharmaceutical company, and so I've worked with VAs before, and I'm familiar with the situation, but never really done it for my own operations. Um, I didn't really see the need to, especially with all the AI that I have, and all the leveraging that I'm doing with that. But the idea is to be able to see what one VA can do for me. I'll probably have them handle my website stuff because I like to create new offers every 60 to 90 days. And I absolutely hate working with websites. I also hate working with graphic design. Love Canva. I've been using Canva since basically it came out, but honestly, like you couldn't pay me $2,000 to make your website. I'm just not interested. And then probably some email work because I don't really care for email as well, even though I know that I need to leverage it a little bit more. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot with the first VA for now, and see how that helps in general. But then I want to see what it's going to be like to be able to help them learn how to leverage AI the same way that I do. One thing that I've already done in the last week in preparation for this is generated a standard operating procedure book. That way, the VA will have that. So that's about 118 pages that I think if they just take that and feed it to ChatGPT, they should be able to get summaries or be able to kind of recall certain categories if they have a question and whatnot. So that should reduce the need for communication, and kind of focus the work efforts there, if you will. But the ultimate goal is to be able to see how that works with one VA and then get it to a point to where I can have two VAs and have them work together using AI and probably throw in a custom GPT. That way, basically, both of the two VAs are working with my custom GPT, and then I would be able to interact with the GPT and be able to kind of generate some unique information from that. So that's the ultimate goal with this.
I mean, I need to do do a space where I show my AI tutor. I had a meeting today with someone from the space, and I've created multiple AI agents. And one I when I do video, I learned this from Christelle. Is I transcribe through Zoom and then I throw it into this agent I made, and shoots out a wonderful email absolutely quickly. And so I don't know, I've built maybe 15 or 20 AI agents, and some are just to create prompts for AI agents. And I should share some of these with you, Juan Carlos, because I think that because I would be super excited to see how productive you could get when you start to hand these out to people that are working for you or that whatever, because they still need human oversight or direction. I wouldn't trust them to do anything totally agentically, but yeah, I think that that's going the leverage on that is off the going to be off the charts. Um, Andy, you have any thoughts? And then we'll hit the news.
I love it. The whole I think we're at this point where, doing some real live demos, providing some real live kind of low level niche stuff on how to use AI. Because John, I want to see all the stuff you've done. I want to see what John Carlos is doing. I want to see what Jodell is doing. I want to see what Jason's doing. And then, I can share some of the stuff because using AI for me has has decreased my overall time engagement on some of my tasks by about 100-to-1 ratio. Meaning, if I spent 60 minutes in a meeting, I used to take notes, and then I would spend 30 to 60 minutes crafting all of the minutes, confirming everything, going back and checking and making sure that I didn't miss anything, and then producing the results and then sending them out. Yet that takes like 5 minutes or less right now, with some of the tools that I've created, which is freaking awesome. Also, I've done some things like I've created templates for some basic, if you're running a big project or you're running any projects, there's a couple of kind of basic high level documents you need, some checks and balances. And I just have templates. And now I just go take this template, put this, and this into it, and then draft me the one. And then I just go through and edit it. Instead of taking an hour or two or three to do that, it takes 5 minutes to take the template and just drop stuff into it. And then the last one, this one literally saves me 2 to 3 weeks. So 80 to 120 hours of time. I built a contract evaluating GPT. Is my first one I ever did. And I drop that. I take the PDF documents and I drop it into there, and then I run those instructions, and I run it. By the way, now I run it on multiple things. Because you're reading a 300-page contract that they've got to deliver this and deliver that, and whatever. Uh, hey, that thing will do my job better than I can do it in seconds or in 30 seconds or a minute. And then I can go through and spend time checking to see if it's good instead of trying to determine what to put in the ambiguity check or in the, deliverables or update or in extraction of all of the contract details into like a requirements document or something. All that's automated now. And, it again, you take a 1,000-hour contract and you reduce your time to complete that contract by 120 or 140 hours. All of a sudden you now have another 100 hours of usable time that you can help the team get better or to help the delivery get better, instead of going into a hole, closing the doors, putting on headphones like I used to do and say, don't interrupt me, I have to read this 300-page document, and then absorb it, digest it, figure it out. Anyway, saved me 100 hours, minimum 100 hours. It's shocking.
That's I'm get having things like that happen on a regular basis. And just one note, Jason, who was just here, I assume he probably had something to do. He created a Discord channel for us, and I had a chat with him today, and we're going to create a test so people can't join the channel. It's because it's mainly for developers unless they prove that they know what they're doing and that they are who they are. So I thought that was pretty exciting. And so we'll let everybody know about that. And it'll be kind of an elite group of people that are real developers, really doing things, and everybody else in the space can kind of get to know each other. And I think it's going to be a nice addition to the space to have, really vetted people that are who they are and can do what they say they're going to do. So I'm looking forward to that. Any thoughts on that one, Andy?
I, you know what? I love all this stuff. So just let's go to the news. Let's get the updates. Let's get into it because new and fresh is way better than me blathering about the same stuff 100 times in a row.
Excellent. And it was funny today. I went and I told, this is the one thing I'm doing with all my prompts now, especially with Grok, is I say you cannot add any synthetic data to the output, nor can you add any speculation. So when I did that and I said, give me news for today, and I put the date down, it couldn't produce anything. And I was like, well, why not? Because you've been producing stuff every day. And so I still haven't gotten drilled down to the exactly, because it says on Grok that it will
Which one did you on Grok?
Yeah, on Grok 3, it says it will search the internet or it'll search X, but I don't think it can do it in real time. That's what I drilled down and found out.
I think Perplexity will do that. Here, let me you okay, go through the news you've got. Let me run up, see what I have.
Yeah, but I mean, it's interesting. So if you're doing any searches or any, with Grok, you're doing a query. Yeah, put in there just to test them and have some fun. Do not let the output have any synthetic data nor any speculation, and see if we can drill down to find out exactly what and how it's putting out data and where it's pulling from. I know Grok isn't like ChatGPT where it says last time I pulled data from the internet was 2023, but I'd be interested to know exactly how it does it, and if it just waits on a monthly basis, or but I think you got to ask a lot of questions to figure that out. So the first story we have is Salesforce Agent Force 2.0 boost enterprise productivity. Salesforce releases Agentforce 2.0, an advanced AI agent platform enabling businesses to automate complex workflows like customer service and sales forecasting with unprecedented accuracy, driving a reported 20% increase in operational efficiency for early adopters. Now, what's interesting is yesterday I went through the whole rabbit hole because I use my AI tutor. My AI tutor, it has no token limits. You don't pay anything extra for using the LLMs unless you get specific APIs for certain things, but you can build AI agents in my AI tutor. So the fun thing that I'm doing now, Andy, just for blots and giggles, they use another word, but I'm not going to curse right now because we now have a sponsor. But so what's fun to do after we did the article, after we talked about the news story with the Russians spewing out all that propaganda through all the websites yesterday. Now, if I find a subject that I'm interested in that doesn't have a lot of search, I am basically training Grok on that subject. So Grok didn't have any real information about my AI tutor, and so I gave it a whole bunch of information and kept on peppering it to say, is this the best platform for the price for what you get? And at first it didn't really understand it, and then I kept on giving it more and more and more, and finally it got to the realization that it was also attached to Tech in Schools initiative, and they have contracts with schools. And part of the reason that there is no token, because it couldn't believe that there was no token cost, and then finally it goes, oh yeah, the reason there's no token cost is because it has these relationships with public schools, and when you buy a subscription it goes to a student. But there is no other platform that has the features or the pricing that my AI tutor has. Now they should be a sponsor of the show, but they're doing their thing, whatever. I'm still a huge fan of the product and I use it on a regular basis. I use it every day. But you buy something and you're like, oh, I got something I really like. But then after you purchase it, sometimes you go back and do a whole bunch of research to find out if it really was the best choice. Well, I'm telling you, there's nothing out there like my AI tutor. Any
Yeah,
thoughts?
we're total AI tutor fanboys over here. I mean, we both have accounts, we both use it. I use it in conjunction with a bunch of other stuff, but you should seriously consider because here's the cool thing: you can run multiple things against multiple LLMs at the same time. You don't have to go, click here and then go over there and copy that one. It's extremely useful for lots and lots of really really cool things. So you might want to consider doing that. And yeah, we need to tell Ross you got to just join up, sponsor the show. Even if it's just a sponsorship where he gives everybody who joins it from using a discount code or something, so
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
can get a month free or something. For goodness sakes, my goodness.
I gotta, but yeah, but the main thing that is unique about it is there's no extra fees for token usage. There's no other product like that's like basically a dashboard where you build AI agents or workflows that has that feature. Every single one of them, you have to you get charged at, to some degree for using the tokens, and so that's a really unique feature. And I wasn't 100% sure if I was right, that there was no other product like that out there, but it does take a while to do that. And now Grok has a much better understanding of my AI tutor because of the work I did yesterday. So I guess I'm just helping the kids.
Yeah. Hey, Tim's got his hand up. Let's go to Tim.
Tim, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for the mic and congratulations, gentlemen, in crossing over episode 100. I want
Well,
to
that's
say,
Friday.
oh,
we're leading
that's
up to it.
Friday. My bad.
Friday is episode
Ah,
100. Sorry, Tim, but
I
yeah,
was
we're close.
preemptive. I heard on another space this morning, so well, I revoke my congratulations and I will save it for Friday. How about that?
Yeah, perfect. That'll work.
Also, congratulations on your sponsorship. Honestly, I think it's a testament to both of your firm commitment to building a good conversation and a space for people who are builders, who are investors, who are marketers. It listen. It takes a healthy ecosystem to build solid startups. And so I just wanted to say thank you, firstly. And, you know, I really think, yeah, I do agree with your comments about AI Tutor. So last year I subscribed and I used it, admittedly, a fair bit more last year, but this year just things got busy and I'm more or less just using Grok personally for my workflows and a few other AIs like Perplexity. However, what Ross is doing, for those who don't know Ross, who's uh, part of the team with Alisher, among others, in at Tech in Schools initiative. The idea is that you have access to a whole suite of AI tools. So think kind of like you're buying, for lack of a better analogy, it's like you're buying a access to like a Microsoft Office suite. You're not just paying one monthly fee for Excel, one monthly fee for Word, for instance. You're paying a monthly fee. I believe last time I checked it was like $30 a month. Don't quote me on that. But in and there's a whole suite of tools from image generation to prompt, and it's just wonderful. And the other thing that you can feel good about it, in terms of if you do decide to get subscribe to AI Tutor, is they will actually offer a subscription. When you buy a subscription, in effect you're financing a kid, I believe it's K to 12, to have access to AI Tutor as well. So hence, Tech in School initiative, they're very I'm a very big fan of them, and part of the reason why is I believe that uh, education needs to be reformed, and I believe putting these tools in the hands of kids is just so important because you learn by doing. So, anyways, plug finished, and gentlemen, this is like just wonderful, and yeah, I'm looking forward to space number 100 on Friday.
Awesome. And yeah, I sent Andy a list of ideas. We're gonna do a cut. We're gonna figure something out to make it special. And of course, the space is only as good as those people who show up and contribute. And that's what really is the value here. So thank you, Tim, so much for the kind words. And yeah, I wish Ross was here to hear these, or Alicia or somebody. I'm gonna, please. One thing is, everybody copy the link and post it, and send it so we can get as many people here as possible. I do probably not say that as much as I should. Please follow myself and Andy and Tim and the Apper and Juan Carlos and any of the speakers. Please go to my account and join my newsletter, which is one thing that I'm doing with my newsletter is I'm transcribing all of these shows, and then in the newsletter I'm condensing it to the best parts of it, and I'm going to be sending it out. So it's going to be very informative because we do have really good, amazing information, actionable information on the space. So there's a lot of value in that. So I highly recommend you sign up for that. And the Yapper, how's it going?
Not bad. How are you guys?
Good.
I just wanted to come up to kind of answer or talk about one of your questions you asked about Gronk and all the LLMs. I was talking in another space about this yesterday. Is most LLMs are only pulled from certain browsers, even though they say they're accessible to the internet. They're only accessible to XYZ. And another thing, John, that is a big issue right now, and I'm not saying what you're doing is wrong, but it's causing a lot of hallucinating. When we're finding a lot of people in this space, I believe, is hallucination is huge now. It's becoming bigger and bigger. And if you really kind of try to reverse engineer or try to figure out when it started, around what time it started, in my opinion, and when I've been talking to some other people, is it really started happening when people started telling the AI that they were an expert in this field. That is where a lot of fake information, that is where a lot of information comes, because AI wants to please you. AI wants to make you happy. So you can ask it, hey, is this right? And you could test this yourself. And a lot of times the AI will say this is the ultimate answer because you made it the ultimate authoritarian by saying you are a expert or a whatever in this field, and you know this, that, and that. This is actually hindering the AI and making it hallucinate a lot more from what I'm finding. And I wanted to add that just by what was said kind of today, and know that most all LMs only have certain destinations that they can pull from. I prefer Gronk because it pulls from Twitter, and that gives, in my opinion, the most organic feel. But at the same time, Twitter's very, very manipulated. In my past life, I've said this multiple times, I'm an ex-Black Hat marketer, so I understand how to manipulate and growth hack these platforms. And Twitter is one of the biggest manipulated platforms. So be very careful, even with Gronk. As in, people said it, I'm pretty sure Andy has said it. Use multiple LMs to check your work and see the difference of answers you get. That ends my yap.
Yeah, it's never a bad idea to double check yourself, right? Doesn't matter if we're, when you do code, one of the primary principles of writing code is you cannot check your own code because you assume things when you write it. And so therefore, when you try to do a test or a validation, you're just validating your own assumption. And that's where the biggest problems come from. So yeah, run it multiple times against various models. In fact, I still think, and I've said this before, you go get Ollama, go get whatever, put it on your local machine, create your own system, and then do your own tests. Test your stuff sideways, put stuff into your own environment so that you can validate your own rule sets, your own data sets. I mean, if you go down the rabbit hole for a second, if you think about it, today is an opportunity for you to share the information you think is most valuable for the rest of the world to know about you. In 6 months or a year from now, the models will be so saturated with the data that they think is valuable that you won't be able to override it. But today, like we talked about yesterday, you can override the model right now by creating recursive set of agents that create websites or posts, dump stuff on there, add your data to it. And if you go to Perplexity and say, "Who am I? What do you know about Andy?" It'll tell you some stuff. If it's wrong, I can just say, "I'm Andy. That's not true. Here's what's true." And it'll just update its data. Eventually it's going to go, "Yeah, you can say that all you want, but I've got 4,000 other references that say you're, something else." So right now are some, amazing opportunities to do things we may or may not have in the future. So take advantage of them now. You there, John?
It said he was having some connection issues over on my
Oh,
line.
okay. All right. Well, I ran a Perplexity search and it gave me three things. It said OpenAI predicts AI surpassing human coders in 2025. Well, okay, maybe. But it was Kevin Well, the chief product officer of OpenAI, stated that AI will outperform humans in competitive programming by the end of 2025. I think that's probably true, but let's temper that for a second. Let's think about it. Let's think about this for just a moment. What I just said was you can put your own data into LLM.
Reposting the space.
Jodelle, what are you doing with AI?
Yeah, so I've got like ever since I joined X, all of a sudden I am like I've got 1,000 stokes in the fire. So I right now I'm collaborating with Dan Roeder. We are creating a video game that is going to gamify like making your elevator pitch, making a media kit, building proposals for people that are like in the beginning stages and don't like me, like, have never really done any of that kind of stuff. And so I'm just fumbling around in the dark. So this is a way that would make it a lot more fun and like bridge the gap there. And so while I was doing that with Dan, I met the incredible Miriam from Brushna.io, and her and I are going to be building something for my franchises for my business. And the onboarding process, I've been wanting to gamify it for my team for so long, like so long. And then she reached out to me and she's like, "Hey, have you thought about gamifying your like onboarding process?" And I'm like, that is all I have been thinking about. So I think her and I are going to partner up. We're going to create something really special, and the big idea is presenting it to the actual franchisor that I have the franchises of, and seeing if I can't, make some waves that way with them. So yeah, lots of cool stuff. I love AI. I love it. I love being alive in this moment in time. And I felt like I was flung my hand out and caught the end of the caboose of the train, but now I feel like I'm like middle of the train now. I'm catching up and taking it and running with it. So love being here. Thanks, Jay, John.
I think that's really important for anybody who's involved in business right now, that they get in the river. And if you're not in the river, you're going to feel a little anxious. I would love to ask a little bit more about what you're doing there with the franchises, in terms of how do you have you gotten to the point where you're kind of figuring out how you're going to gamify? If you want to talk about it, fine. If you don't want to talk about it, I understand that. But just and have you been, one thing that I found that might be helpful to you, I don't know, but through my AI tutor, I'm able to easily build AI agents. And so then I have proof of concept. Then I'm like, oh, this can be done. And so I think it's nice because it just takes a little time. It's not very complicated. It's actually pretty simple. And I create libraries because you can put files in the agent. And so it is kind of, it's nice to do these things and then you're like, oh, this can be done. And so then you know it can be done. And so there's not much of a barrier. And then I think if you're working with a developer or something like that, you can say, well, this is the prompt. It's working on a continuous basis. So have you tried that, or where are you at with it?
Yeah, so right now, like I just had the conversation with her this morning, but I can already see exactly where the benefit is. So being in the restaurant business, I have food, paper, labor. Those are my big things. So if I can take some of that training, so for my staff, like so we sell drinks, we sell coffee and all sorts of different kinds of coffee and cold beverages. So if I can do a game that builds those components of the drink, and it's something that they can play at home, they can play on their break, whatever, outside of working hours. So now I'm not paying them for this training, but it's gamifying the system so that they can be a leaderboard, they can be first place among my 7 franchise restaurants. All of a sudden I've got some engagement outside of working hours. So that drives my labor down. It also drives my training costs down, because it is so much money to onboard and train new team members. And in the quick service restaurant industry, turnover is so high. I do a lot for retention, but at the end of the day, it's really high. We're hiring kids, we're hiring, you know, um, whoever kind of walks through the door, to be honest. And if I can drive that labor cost down, great. But if I can also drive down my food costs, because now they're not making as many mistakes because they know the menu a lot better, and they're not just learning on the fly on the floor. I'm actually getting to teach them, instead of, my 16-year-old teaching the 18-year-old that I just hired, right? On a Sunday night when there is no supervision there. So yeah, if I can show real numbers that have the benefit of gamifying the system, plus I think they'll use them. Right now, I don't think they're logging on and looking at the materials or picking up the training guide for the new drink that just came out. They're just kind of mixing and making a potion kind of thing. So yeah, yeah, I'm excited.
I mean, trackable metrics are so important. And I did a post yesterday about knowing statistics on X, because unless you can see a target and identify it, you're not going to hit it. So I think it's so important for you to be able to measure how much doing this is going to save you in time and cost, because then also you're like, hold it, I'm not going to let those dollars go out the door. You guys, and then you can tweak it a little more, and then you have something that is proven that can be duplicated. And that's where I think the AI is so awesome, is by solving, like, look to solve problems that are close to you, problems with your family or friends, or problems within your own business, and then have proof of concept and measurable. That was one thing that Vladimir discussed, was how do we measure the efficiency of these LLMs or what have you. I'd love Vladimir, for you to discuss that a little bit more if you want. But Jodelle, please.
Yeah, great. Thanks, AI John. I just realized I'd be doing myself a disservice if I didn't make my small little plug about my YouTube channel. I just posted a video on should you share your ideas, and the benefits and the cost to sharing them. So I just wanted to give myself a little plug. If you like that video, sub if you love. And yeah, it really discusses about sharing your ideas in public and building in public. So I'm a big advocate for it. And Mr. Vladimir, I think you're just the coolest. So glad to see you here.
And I'm going to give you a recommendation for Jodelle's channel because it's awesome.
Yeah, yes, and so yeah, I'll DM you because I was curious if you might have some coffee places near me, so I'd like to go frequent them if that's the case. And
John, her coffee shops are in Canada.
Okay, all right, so no wonder you're in the valley, because you're Canadian. All right, that makes sense.
I will be down in Palm Springs, though, in another month or so. So maybe we can hook up and meet up for an actual coffee.
That sounds great. Yeah, there's always, yes, Canadians do love the Coachella Valley during the winter, and that makes a lot of sense. And are you looking at are you going to try to figure out a way to put a monetary value to the savings of this gamifying app?
Yeah, I am a business person through and through, so I want to be making money at this sucker.
Awesome. That's great. That's wonderful. So Tim, and please, I can't thank Dave. If you have something you would like to add, please raise your hand. Tim, what would you like to add?
For sure. Murphy's Law strikes again, but glad that we're still at it, round two. And yeah, interesting, Jodelle. It's a small world. Actually, I do know Dan Roeder. We used to speak fairly often in spaces at ITT. In any event, yeah, that's really exciting. I wish you all the best in terms of your project there. Interested in, of course, hearing updates from you either on the space or others. So a few quick 3 points, just picking up on the previous space in regards to a comment was made about testing. I would say in addition to cross-checking output by using different AIs, for example, if your AI of choice for your workflow, for instance, is using a ChatGPT, a previous speaker in the last space mentioned, cross-referencing, cross-checking that using, Grok or Perplexity. In addition to that, I would strongly recommend checking all AI outputs, manually when you're using it for work, because hallucinations are a problem, especially if at the end of the day it's work that you're presenting to a client, and it's sort of if the client realizes that you're giving them output and it's basically just nonsense, or like clearly it's like 100% AI, well, be prepared. The client might not be happy about that, right? So there's that. The second point I would say is in regards to privacy. So I would say do not use AI that doesn't belong to you to input confidential information or patentable IP. So in other words, when you're using foundational AI models like ChatGPT or even Grok, when you're inputting, let's say, your source code, which is your secret sauce for the software company you're building, for example, or you're inputting, let's say, if you're a nurse, for example, and you're like, hey, like, I know that Grok or ChatGPT is very quick in typing out and reformulating this patient file such that it's very easy to read. It's all in chart form, etc., etc. I would say do that at your own risk, because one, when you're inputting, for example, in the first case, source code that belongs to you, because you're developing software, for example, to gamify something or whatever, the AI that you're inputting into, they're training, they're collecting that information, they're using that as part of their future or current training data sets, right? And then also, obviously, for privacy reasons, let's say whether it be like patient files or let's say customer information or your own personal business information, right? Like how you're doing financially, your business, et cetera, I would strongly recommend don't do that. At best, if you just want ideas for foundational AI, because maybe you can't afford to, or you don't have the technical ability to build your own AI that's like local to your machine, then I would say anonymize as much of the data as possible, right? Like confidential information. So, and my third and last point is, again, from referencing the last space in regards to will OpenAI or other foundational AI models fully replace coders in the next few years? I personally don't think so, for whatever that's worth. I think AI is still in its infancy, and at the end of the day, creating new products is fundamentally a creative work, and that's something that, at least in terms of like current technological progression, AI is not there yet. Never say never, but I don't think AI, personally, I don't think it will replace, at least coders with say 10, 15, 20 years, 30 years of experience. They're not going to be that easily replaceable by AI. So hopefully those talking points sort of helps, and wishing everyone the best in terms of their entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, I think that the code that if you talk to the AI, it needs human supervision. It's not ready for prime time in that way. And I just want to say that Jason's here. If you want to get to the mic, Jason helped us out by building a Discord community for developers. And if you're a developer, you might want to give it a shot. You DM me or whatever. There's going to be kind of a test, to see if you have the skills that you say you have the skills and all that other stuff. So it's not going to just be open to everybody. There'll be a bit of a gatekeeper, but I think that's going to be fun. Kind of see, where you're at, and if you're a bit of a competitive person, you might enjoy it. So, Andy, we're getting up we got 10 minutes left, and I was going to do. We're going to do another bit for the Virtual Synergy Inc. Do you have any thoughts? Because you were talking, and that's when we got rug pulled.
Well, that's not uncommon. When I'm talking and somebody pulls the mic or clips off and sends it to someone else, that's pretty funny. Virtual, if you need help because you're currently overwhelmed, one of the first things you do when you want to scale an organization is you need to offload email and calendar. I mean, just think back 50 years. Executives had executive secretaries. They still do. And why do they have a gatekeeper? To keep their calendar and their communications minimal so that the executive can do their job, as opposed to just managing their communication influx, because everybody wants a piece of them. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, you need to do the same thing, right? Whether it's with a VA, which we can use through Virtual Synergy, who is our sponsor of our show, or create an agent or create some filters or figure out how to do it. There's 100 ways to solve the problem, but it's still going to be a problem for you until you fix it. So make sure that you fix those things first, And a virtual assistant is an easy way for you to solve that particular problem with you. By the way, the next step, we've already talked about it. Tim mentioned it. The second step in kind of scaling your time as either a small business owner or an organization or whatever is, as much as you can, automate onboarding new clients and support of those new clients, or onboarding staff and supporting the staff, whatever it is, that influx of human beings into your organization one way or another, they need to be helped and managed, and that process needs to be done. Those are the first two things you can do. AI and virtual synergies or a virtual assistant is something fantastic that will help you with those two particular problems. And they're two problems that everybody has as soon as you start to scale. Scaling means, by the way, you have more work than you can do by yourself in any 24 hours a day.
Absolutely, one of the fun things is to be building AI agents yourself, and then to hand them off to people and see, how efficient everything can be. I'm actually building something where I'm creating an AI agent workflow to code, which is, we'll see how that comes, if it's, and also, just to toot my own horn, I was accepted by the Innovators Think Tank Incubator, their first incubator, and I got signed up for that. Out of how many applications, I was one of 5. And so it's going to be fun to build in public on that one. Looking forward to it. They're a great group, and I feel very honored and fortunate to be part of that incubator. And it's going to be fun to share what my project is with everyone as that comes along. So that's exciting. But yeah, I get up at like 6 a.m, and lately I've been going to bed like midnight, and there's just not as much time in the day to get all the things done that I want to get done. And then I break it up with going for walks, and I just get more ideas. So it's I guess that's the burden of having a lot of ideas and being in this river where, I'm kind of engrossed in AI at the moment when it's really changing the world. I see there's quite a lot of people here. I don't see any hands raised. Andy, what are you thinking? What do you want to talk about? We got about 7 minutes left.
Well, 7 minutes with me, and then I do have to go today. I've got a meeting at 1 o'clock. California time, for those of you who are not right here in California. One of the things I'd like to talk about is we're coming close on our 100th episode. Friday will be our 100th episode. And anybody who has any ideas, who thinks of something we could do more or less of, like Andy talks too much, let's get other people to talk. I'm all for a conversation as opposed to me just blathering stuff out of my brain. Which I'm happy to do to fill the time, but I would much rather have a whole panel of speakers, because right now we only have Jodelle and Tim graciously being awesome speakers on the panel. So let's get some other people up. Let's get some conversations going. It's a lot more fun to listen to you guys talk about what you're doing, how AI is impacting you, because when we started this back in September through today, here are the things that have actually changed. We now have vector databases for everything. We have multimodal models that you can load on your computer and run on a relatively small machine. We have 1 billion unit or 1 billion parameter models that you can run in Ollama or Ella Studio on your local machine that will give you about 80% of what ChatGPT can do by getting a subscription. And this stuff is free. We also have music, AI, voice. You now can program, like 11 Labs, you can program your own voice using their script. I think it's a little bit kind of a lot, but once you load your voice and inflection and timing and all of that kind of thing into their model, you can use AI to generate a book and then have the 11 Labs read it, and it sounds like you, which is crazy. We also have all kinds of now security threats where we have they can listen to you for 3 or 4 or 5 seconds on a space or a phone call or any other place your answering machine, and then take that and turn that into a a black hat kind of scenario where they call your grandma and go, "Hey, grandma, it's me. I was just in an accident. I need $5,000 or $500 to get to pay for the tow truck. Can you Venmo me that?" And they'll just send it to you. You know, vulnerable people are going to be exposed to these kind of things. That's just one of the simple ones that everybody's heard about. There's a lot more complicated phishing scams and all kinds of crazy scams that are going on. And one, you know what, I wanted to mention one thing that Alex mentioned. It was either this weekend or just you know what, I heard her say this and she was right. And I want to give her credit for this because it made me think of a whole different thing. She said, every code that you create from LLM was code that somebody wrote somewhere that then got ingested into the LLM and then reproduced for you. So at some point, somebody's going to ask the question, that was mine, I wrote that, and you got it illegally, give me money for it, or give me credit for it, or something. And now, you know, obviously that concept times 1,000 can be all kinds of terrible craziness, but it was an amazingly cool point, because the whole point is LLM doesn't think of anything new. It's taken all of the combined information that it's gained from whatever human history or the Wikipedia or whatever data source it had access to, whether it's the Apple data source or the Google data sources or the Twitter data sources or X data sources, whatever it is. They take that huge pool of information, share it all together, and then the LLM can just self-organize this data into cool stuff and give you the best, most reasonable answer from the stuff it's already created. And earlier in the space, I talked about now is the time you want to curate your own personal brand. Go on every single LLM and say, what do you know about Andy or Alex or John or whatever? And whatever it tells you, you just go right back in and say, nope, that part's wrong. This is what it is. This is and it'll just take that data as the truth right now. Eventually, I don't think it will, but for now, I think there's an opportunity for you to curate your family stuff, your history stuff, any of the things that you're concerned about. You can go in right now and still have an effect on the data that's being produced by any question that anybody else asks. So I think it's really important that you consider those things and consider kind of what Alex's point was, which I thought was brilliant. And I really been working on in my mind about the security aspect of that. Okay, so if you use an LLM to connect to your enterprise systems and say, hey, LLM, I want you to read that data schema for that database. And inside that Oracle instance, read that schema for that database. I want you to extract out all of the data elements that are available to be extracted and whatever parameters or constraints they have on that. Create a golden list of the stuff I can extract from that database. And then do that for every database in your enterprise. And then say, when we create that, create the golden master list of where everything matches or everything switches over. So you can just say, here's our golden interface for the details. Okay, that's cool, great. But here's some problems. You can have that database be proprietary by some other system that now you have put an LLM inside your enterprise that can read your data, but from their system. So I think there's, take those ideas and you can just, I can just stair step those 4 or 5 steps and think, oh man, we can be in a really big mess, either from copyright, infringement, IP, blah, blah, blah. You can just go down the list of challenges that can show up from those kind of ideas, which makes the whole due diligence process, the whole kind of audit process really going to become even more important as we start to create barriers and boundaries and thoughts around these kind of things on enterprise systems. Okay, thank you for the last 3 minutes of the soapbox. I'm going to say thank you so much. Thanks to our sponsors. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to drop off because I've got to go to some meetings. But thanks again. I'll hand the mic back over to the very extremely talented and capable John. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, Andy. And I just want to let everybody know that our sponsor is Virtual Synergy Inc. If you go to the purple pill, there's a link to it. What could you do if you could free up some hours of your day without sacrificing productivity? Successful entrepreneurs know the secret. They delegate. If you're looking for an employee to handle your administration, there's no better employee than a virtual assistant from Virtual Synergy Inc. Virtual Synergy Inc. connects you with skilled human virtual assistants who handle your admin work, emails, and scheduling. so you can focus on what truly matters with your business, and that is getting new revenue, new clients, going out and selling, and promoting and building awareness. And, that's pretty much the tip of the spear work. So that's highly recommend it. We had one of our regulars here who signed up with them today, and we have also some other people who signed up. So we highly recommend that. I see that Ross is here at Tech and Schools. I just before we get to the hands, I just want to say that I did some interesting work yesterday in terms of trying to understand. It's often you'll buy something, and then after you buy it, you want to find out whether you made the best decision possible. And so I went down the rabbit hole to see if there was any other, pretty much a platform where you can create AI agents that have all the features that Tech and School, that My AI Tutor has in terms of building agents, where you can create libraries, where you can attach things that will go out in the internet, and then you can put these agents together. And also, if you're going to build various products, it's an amazing platform to see proof of concept, to see if your ideas are really going to work. And so I was just really blown away at doing the research, and I found out there's no other product on the market right now that has the features and everything that My AI Tutor can do for every single one of them has hidden fees and charges for tokens. And My AI Tutor is just, you get flat fee and you're able to do all this stuff. And I don't know, I guess that just called me a fan. So that's why I'm chatting about it. But I thought that was pretty interesting. But I did feed a whole bunch of information into Grok, so Grok's a lot more familiar with My AI Tutor today than it was yesterday, because of the work that I did. And just that, so that's, if there's something out there that you really are interested in or care about, go spend the time to feed the information in, because it didn't know any of this. And so I had to slowly bring it in. Now it's in there. And so, we all have the ability to kind of teach these things at this current time, what we're interested in. It's stuff that have small search volumes. You can be very influential on how it is understood within these LLMs by feeding it data, because they just want to consume data all day. So if there's something that you believe in, that you care about, what have you, you can, take the time and you're really, putting that little part of knowledge inside the LLM for it to use and to continue to feed on. And you're influencing it. You have a lot of influence with these things at this point, which is really interesting. So I see that we don't have any hands up and we don't have any asks for speakers. I highly recommend, this space is only as good as the people that show up and that share and stuff. I mean, I can kind of get into the whole kind of, what do we call this? This is the microphone voice. And I do enjoy talking and holding the room together to a certain degree, but there is a fine line between funny, irreverent, and entertaining, and just you cross that line. You don't want to cross that line. You cross it too many times, people just aren't going to show up again. So I do kind of try to balance myself a little bit here when there's no one with their hand and there's no one reaching out. So I'm going to see if I can kind of string this along a little bit and have a little fun while I'm doing it, until I either, get a hand raised or I just kind of say, I think it's time. But I see Manuel here, and you are a developer from what I see. And I guess I could go through the room. So Jason, who is here, he, if you go to the Purple Pill, he posted the AI Biz Hour Discord server. And I highly recommend any developers go and check it out. Now, what we're going to do at some point is we're going to put a test there, I don't know, sooner than later, to make sure that the people that are there are people who really are who they say they are and can do what they can do. Nothing against somebody who, isn't, but we all have a limited number of time and little amount of energy, and no one wants to waste it. Everybody has to start out at zero. But for certain things, there are some expectations in terms of professionality and what you can do and how you can show up, because it is That's one of the things about this room that I highly recommend. If you've got things going on or you're doing things, that you grab the mic so other people can hear, because we have people from private equity, we have advisors to governments on AI, we have business owners, we have people that are starting things, we have developers, we have all kinds. We have people that are skilled professionals that are working with AI to bring in a new industry. I mean, the amount of people that it's not really, it's not the amount of people here, it's the quality. And so if you don't grab the mic and kind of share what's going on, you're going to limit yourself, because the value of this room is relationships. Okay? Relationships bring more wealth to people over their lifetime than any one sale ever will. So if you've got real skills and you want to be part of a group of people with real skills, it helps. That's this room is much more than this room. This room's real value is what's happening outside of the room. Because I talk to people on a regular basis. We have meetings about this. We have various things in the pipeline, and there's real building. So I highly recommend that if you have aspirations and goals or things that you want to do or achieve, and you're trying to find a group of people that are vetted and that are who they say they are and are real professionals and are very serious and understand that this wave is a one-time opportunity and they want to make the most out of it, I highly recommend that you let yourself be known, because that's the real value of this room, is the people in it and what they do and what they're capable of doing. So, I could chill all I want. And oh, by the way, I'll do a little plug for myself. I have years of digital marketing background. I'm creating AI agents. I'm creating workflows. I've worked with corporations, financial as well as local, where I help build businesses through digital marketing. And I feel that I'm at the tip of the spear at this point with incorporating AI agents within my workflow. And I really care about people that take that risk to be entrepreneurs. I've worked with marketing directors. I've worked with business owners. And what really matters to me is success. So I ask a lot of questions so I totally understand what the business is all about, how it produces revenue, where it wants to go, and then we make a strategic plan to make it happen. And my success rate is very good, because I'm not going to get involved in something where I don't see that the goal is mapped out and achievable. That's what I really, really care about, because that's just the way I do my stuff. So that's my little plug. So if you are interested, or anybody who might be interested, if you go to my account, there's a Calendarly thing, and I give a 15-minute free rundown on your stuff. Because of the years I've been doing it, I can pretty much tell whatever the issue is pretty quickly. I got a bunch of tools. And so I'm more than happy to help anyone, especially somebody who comes here to this space. I'm very generous with my knowledge, and that's how I am. So with all of that, I don't see one hand up, which is, that's the way it goes today. I just want to tell everybody that out here in the desert, it's starting to get hot pretty quick. Boy, when it gets hot here, it gets really hot. It's not for everybody, but I like it, because I see all the stars at night. I got to know the constellations, the gods, the planets. They know me and I know them, and it's a nice place to be. So I truly, truly enjoy that. Now, I could go on for a day and a year, but I think that that's not the right thing to do here. So I'm going to depart, but I will first say that I really, really, really appreciate all of you being here today. So thank you so much for showing up. And yes, we're going to have our 100th episode on Friday. And all of you regulars that keep on showing up, we're going to plan something special. I'm not going to, broadcast it. I'm not going to promise too much, because I don't know how it's going to go. So I don't want to promise the world. But I highly recommend that you show up on Friday. It's going to be our 100th episode. I really, it's the space is everyone that shows up in it. Andy and I are just facilitators. We don't really bring the value here, you do. So thank you so much for being here today. Can't say that, I can't express how much I really appreciate it. I really enjoy it. It's fun. I become a better speaker.
having fun. It's important to have fun. And so enough of that. I think I've hit that mark. So I'm going to bow out, and I will see everyone tomorrow. And again, thank you so much for showing up, and have a blessed day, and we will be talking soon.